Hi everybody, hope we all had a good New Year and Christmas. Been a few weeks since I've made a video. Not actually done a great deal, to be honest. Not painting wise, prepared a lot. Been watching your videos over Christmas while I could. Quite a few Christmas loot haul videos. I'm afraid you won't get one of those from me because I didn't get anything. But I've got plenty. Well, I bought a few bits in the sale beforehand, so that was my Christmas present to myself. But yeah, not done an amazing amount of things really. A lot of preparation, or a fair bit of preparation, but to be honest, our time has been completely taken up over the break due to a addition to the family. And here he is. Fast asleep. Nice little Taz. His name's Taz. He's got him from Rescue, a charity. There's a charity we follow. And we had a staffy, as you may know. She died a couple of weeks before we moved. We weren't really looking to get another dog till next year sometime, but we saw the post about this little fella, and we saw pictures that showed that he'd actually lived with cats before, because a lot of the rescue dog comes up. If they don't know for sure, they always say, you know, they want a pet-free home, so because they don't want to, you know, like rehome a dog and then it ends up attacking the cats. So even if, you know, if they're never sure, if they're not 100% sure, then they'll always say no cats or, you know, no other dogs. But with this fella, he'd lived with cats before, so we knew he was quite a fairly safe bet. He's lovely, absolutely lovely little fella, a gorgeous dog, such a well-behaved little fella. He isn't a problem. The bloody cats are, though. He'll quite happily mooch about in the living room, throughout the house. He'll walk past them, doesn't care, as long as they don't bother him. But 3 times now our cats have decided to have a go at him, and they're used to living with my dog Molly, our previous dog, and she wouldn't fight back. She'd just back off, run away. Even though she was a staff bigger than him, she just kept out of the way. Taz, though, he retaliates, which is unfortunate. But really, you know, what do you expect? If a cat has a swipe at him, takes a chunk out of his nose, he's bound to have a go back. But unfortunately, we have to tell him off when he does, because we need him to learn that he mustn't go for the cats, you know, even when provoked, which is the only time he has actually had a go at them. I mean, fortunately, they've got plenty of places to get away. I mean, straight away they run under the couch and he can't get under there. But they have a swipe at him and then run. And but you never know, they might do it one day where they're cornered and he might manage to actually get to one of them. So we're having to be careful. It's a bit tricky. I mean, I say he's a brilliant natured dog. If him, I've got no worries about. It's just the bloody cats. If I just want them to leave him alone, and he'll be fine. So anyway, yeah, that's why I've done pretty much nothing, because our time since we had him, we've had him about a week now, has pretty much been sitting with him and the cats and doing hardly anything else. Just trying to get them settled, giving them all loads of fuss so that they all know, yeah, they're all loved and it's all still their home. I mean, Taz apparently didn't get a great deal of attention, and he actually just craves it. He wants attention all the time. So yeah, doing basic things like a bit of painting just hasn't been happening. I mean, I can't even really go down. I'm back upstairs now. I've brought some of my stuff back up here. So I'm not actually using my room at the moment, because if I go down there, he starts whinging and crying, even though my wife's about. He doesn't mind if one of us goes out, leaves the house. But if he knows that one of us is in the house somewhere else, he just cries for them. So yeah, not much time for painting or nothing else. So yeah, one thing I've done was this chariot here, Celt Chariot from New Line Designs. I started it ages ago. Well, say started. I assembled it sort of ages ago, but I wanted to add reins and stuff to it, and I was trying to think of a way to do it. Sorry about the lighting. The lighting's bloody awful up here. In the end, I got some of that twist wire, garden sort of twist wire. It's quite thin. I mean, the reins aren't completely accurate, because it really should be like another rein going from the other side of both horses' heads, but it's just too much to try and get here around his hands and that. So I thought just something to indicate. A bit down here, good enough. Looks better than just standing in sort of thin air, as it were, with no reins attached to the horses. So yeah, nice figure. Same New Line Design. A bit of woad on that chap, well, on both of them, but he's got a bit more. So that was the last thing I actually completed. So yeah, quite happy with how that came out in the end. Bit fiddly doing chariots and horses, because it's too awkward to try and do them in bits, paint them in separate bits, and then assemble them all together on a base. And it's also very awkward to paint them when it's all put together. So I think I ended up, what did I do? I think I put the horses to the base, and then marked on the base where I knew the chariot wheels would go, so I could then position that, and then I painted the horses and the chariot separately. But then it was fiddly putting the bloody reins on and stuff. Came out alright in the end though. So yeah, nice little set, that. New Line Design. Right, afraid I've gone back to my old ways of not focusing on one thing. I've gone mental onto all sorts of stuff. Haven't abandoned the World War II powers though, and I was talking about doing some engineers, and this is the solution I came up with. These are Warlord Plastics powers. With the addition of, let's get position this a bit better. With the addition of Warlord Commando backpacks, where he looks pretty the part there with the pickaxe and everything on his back. That pack is actually from the Paras set, but the rest of them are Commando backpacks. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do, because I really can't be bothered with converting. That is enough converting for me, just putting a different item on them. I've got some plenty of spare shovels and picks from various frames, so I'm going to do a couple of them with like the rifles slung over the shoulders, and put a shovel or pick in the other hand. I would like to do some sort of mine detector thing, but don't know how to do it. Can't think of a easy way to do it. And also I wouldn't mind, some sort of mine in the hands. I'm thinking of getting finding a buckler from an ancient set. At least it's circular, and maybe use something like that. Just paint it bloody green, metallic green. Don't know, might not bother, might just do what I'm done here. Thinking of doing a section. This is for chain of command, so there'll be 10 of them. But you can have like a section, or you can have engineer teams of 3. So and there's 2 teams there. You have like a flamethrower team, demolitions team, wire cutting team. And I think they're getting some of the barbed wire that you can buy, you know, wargaming barbed wire. Maybe put that on a couple of sort of posts on a oblong base and have that with them, and that indicates, you know, they're the wire cutting team, or the one who assemble the barbed wire defences or barricades. So yeah, I mean, these would just be, they'll all have berets and obviously the bronze cap badge, which I've been advised is what they had. So that's them. Para engineers. Still on World War II theme. I've been for ages wanting to do Far East Burma, and Warlord had a sale, Black Friday sale, so I thought, right then, I shall get some Burma stuff. And I've gone for British and Japanese. So what we've got here is, it's a bit high up, this. Let's lower this and see if it's a better angle. Too low. How's that? Yeah, I'll just have to hold it. That's a bit better, I suppose. Yeah. Come back there. Right, I think that'll do. Yeah, these are the Japanese, from the plastic Japanese box set I bought in the sale. You're going to focus? Yeah. I bought 2 boxes of Japanese infantry and a box of Special Naval Landing Force, which is basically, I think, the Japanese box set with different heads, different helmets. And obviously paint them different colour. I think their uniform's more of a drab khaki sort of colour. But looking at these on the frames, I thought, I wasn't too impressed. I thought, bloody hell, I wasted my money here. But when you put them together, they're actually really good figures. I was quite surprised how good they are, because they do look quite naff on the frames, on the sprues. So I thought I'll just do a few as test figures, which is what I'm pretty much doing with all sorts of things here. So I'm going to paint a few Japanese, get a handle on doing their uniforms and skin tones. So yeah, Japanese. Then I bought a couple of boxes of the Warlord metal Chindit sections. So there's just one of them. I've sprayed the whole box, 10. But just pick this chap out. Then I wanted to utilise the British plastic box set. So what I did, I wanted to use them for the Burma campaign. So I bought, also in the sale, I bought a couple of boxes of the British Commonwealth set, so that I could use the slouch hats, or the sort of jungle hats. So I've just basically put the head of one of those on a plastic British figure. So that to me will do for Burma, for British. And also I wanted to do Sikhs, and I wanted to also use the Commonwealth frame for that. Now I do know that generally people found that wearing shorts in the jungle wasn't a great idea, but I do know that the Gurkhas used to. It definitely did for a while, and I know the British did for a while as well. But I've always liked, I like Sikhs, and mistakenly I thought that the Commonwealth box set had Sikh heads, but it doesn't. It's the 8th Army box set that has the Sikh heads. But fortunately I'd already bought, about a year ago, 2 years ago, I bought 24 Sikh heads to go with the British Army box set. I'll take this off here, so you've got one less layer, one less level. Might be a bit better. Bloody worse. Need another one up, don't I? Yeah, need another one, if anything. Sorry, faffing about here. Yeah, I need to bring them up a bit. Hang on, I'm just going to get another thin book. Nearly there. Not messing about here. Didn't plan this too well, did I? That's a bit better. Yeah, so I thought the Commonwealth box set came with Sikh heads, but it doesn't. So I've used some metal ones that I had, that I've got from, that I bought from Warlord a while ago. Those. Got about 24 of them. What I'm planning to do is get some of the 8th Army sets, so I can use those plastic heads on them. And then I've got, I'll have no end then. But yeah, I was saying about shorts. I know the Gurkhas wore shorts for quite a while. And I'm thinking, well, I'm sure the Sikhs would as well. They're a bit harder than us soft Westerners. They're used to the more difficult climates. So I thought, well, the whether it's completely accurate or not, my Sikhs are going to be in shorts. So I'm using the Commonwealth bodies for them, for the Sikhs, with the Sikh heads, and for British troops or English troops, I shall use the British bodies with the slouch hats, or just use the standard chindits. So I've got a good mix of whatever I want there for Burma forces. So there you go. I only just started painting these. That's basically, I'm doing the uniforms in using Russian uniform green, and that's had a wash of Games Workshop's Athonian camo shade. Skin tones only so far had a base tone and a wash, so their skin's not finished yet. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how they're looking so far. So yeah, that's the Burma stuff. Again, these are all, I'm just doing like a few of everything, all the things I'm interested in at the moment. So I think, and then I'll sort of decide what I'm going to focus on. I've also still got Wars of the Roses stuff on the go. Next, right, some more World War II stuff. Only a few little things there. I've been meaning to have a go at winter themed basing for ages, and I just keep putting it off because I keep thinking I'll make a mess of it. So I thought, well, I bought some frames, sprues of in the sale of the winter Germans, which is a brilliant frame actually. I absolutely love them. So I thought I'll just do a few and I've practiced me winter basing on them. Really nice figures. So we'll see how that comes out. I've got plenty of snow products. I've got a lot of stuff by Precision Ice and Snow, so I'm going to try their stuff out. See how it goes. I'm a bit wary of doing, I don't know, I've not a fear, but I've really put off doing winter based stuff because I just think I'm going to make a hash of it. But I've got to try, so at least I've got spares to do it with. So that's those. Next thing, I'm quite keen on Napoleonics as well at the moment. And I've been moaning, well, you'll know that I've got a good old collection of French Army now, and I got everything cheap for it. But I was whinging that I wanted British to begin with. Turns out, I mean, I have actually got a few box sets lying about of British that they were bought for me for painting figures for other people. And at the time, I said, "I'll just get me some Perry Napoleonics, that just whatever," and they just bought me some random stuff. Ended up, I'm really annoyed. I could have sworn I had 2 boxes of Perry British Dragoons, and can I find them? It's driving me absolutely mental. I'm positive I've got them, but I'm having to conclude that I've just seen the box artwork and thought I had them. It's driving me absolutely mad. I could have sworn I've got 2 boxes of them. But what I did have is 2 boxes of British Hussars. So I thought, well, I'll put some of them together and have a go. So I'm joining the big boys now, Napoleonic Cavalry. And I also put a couple of Perry plastic British together. These ones I've gone for Peninsular, whereas these ones are later. These Hussars are the 18th, I believe, and they all wore these fur hats, but they have the shorter bearskin hats. I can't decide whether I want to do later or Peninsular. Most of the French have got a later French, but from watching Sharp, I've always been keen on the Peninsular aspect of it. So I suppose I'll just have to go and buy a Peninsular French Army, won't I, to match them. But yeah, so I'm going to have a go at these, do them as a test. I'm going to have to go and buy some of those British Dragoons now. It's really annoyed me. I could have sworn I got them. So I will now make sure I've got some at some point. But yeah, so these are going to be testers, a couple of Ritz, infantry, and these 3 Hussars, and then go from there. So yeah, again, it's just stuff that's sort of taken my fancy. No big plans, just fancy painting some. I just had the urge to paint some Napoleonic Cavalry, and what I did want to paint were those Dragoons, but turns out I can't find them, or probably never had them. So I settled for those Hussars. Next thing, and a long time interest of mine, the old or Wild West. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite genres, some of my favourite films. Been thinking about doing West for quite a while. And I've just watched an absolutely fantastic series on Netflix. Whether you're a fan of the Westerns or not, I recommend you watch this. It's called Godless. It's a 7-part series. It's got Jeff Daniels as the sort of main bad guy, and it's got, I can't remember her name, but a lady who was one of the main characters in Downton Abbey, and she's brilliant in it. In fact, this figure here pretty much looks like her character in the series. Yeah, and obviously, you know, it's like you watch something and think, oh, right, yeah, I want to do that now. And I've got loads of Western figures that I bought, you know, ages ago. So I dug some of them out. These ones at the front, the ones on foot. Well, this one here is an artisan figure. I think, yeah, Eliza Stone, I think it's called. But the rest of these are from a box set from Great Escape called Daughters of the West. So it's basically female cowgirls, gunfighters. And the basic premise of this series, Godless, is that Jeff Daniels, he's got a massive band of outlaws, over 30 of them. They go around running rampant, and there's no posses dare tackle him. And there's a sheriff who wants to get the army to go and sort them out, but the army won't because they're too busy doing something else. But one of their members, the character's called Jim Good. Is it Jim Good? think it is. He obviously deep down is a decent chap, and he gets fed up with some of the atrocities that this band of outlaws are committing, and ends up leaving them. But Jeff Daniels' character sort of took him in as a boy, and he sees him as his sort of son, and takes it as a really deep betrayal, and sets off to find him. And he sort of declares that any town that harbours him or looks after him will suffer for it. And they basically come across this town where he was hiding out, and they basically kill everybody there and burn the town down. And he escapes, manages to kill a few of the band himself. This chap, Jim Good, and he ends up at the ranch of this character, who is obviously the girl from Downton Abbey. And her character, she's got a grudge with this. There's a town called La Belle, which she lives on the outskirts of, and that town is basically consists of women, because all the able-bodied men, were killed in a mining accident. So all that's left there are like kids and shopkeepers and stuff like that, and the wives of all the chaps that died. So it's basically a town of women, but they've all had to sort of learn to fend for themselves and maintain the town, and make new, erect new buildings and stuff. So they've sort of hardened and had to look after themselves. And this character lives on the outskirts of the town. She's got a bit of a grudge with them, and she's got an Indian son, because she was married to an Indian brave who got killed, and she sort of says that the townsfolk have got are culpable for his death, or they didn't prevent his death when they could have. So she's got a grudge with them and lives on the outskirts. And this Jim Good turns up at her ranch, wounded because he's been in a gunfight with a bunch of outlaws, and he basically gets taken in by her. So the whole thing sort of leading up to Jeff Daniels' outlaw band coming to this town. It's absolutely fantastic. Godless. Recommend. Got to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so anyway, I dug out these Daughters of the West figures, and some cowboy stuff. There's a Mexican. I think this chap is he's an Old Glory Velista. So Mexican Velista, so he's a bit late, a bit like early 1900s, but still fits. So I just started him. These two figures, I believe, are West Wind used to have a range of Western figures, but I think they sold them, and you can buy them through Old Glory. So a couple of years ago, I bought loads of them. They do them in I think it's like 2 packs. You get like 2 mounted figures or 2 foot figures, and I think they have like a foot and mounted version of each figure. So I think these are West Wind. So yeah, I've got absolutely loads of Western stuff. And I also bought a load of Foundry ones a couple of years ago. So and they did like foot and mounted versions of each character. So I've been meaning I'd really love to do some old West gaming. I've got quite a few sets of rules. What I'm lacking are the buildings. And obviously, like finances being a bit limited now, I've got to pick and choose what I buy. I'd really like to get some Wild West buildings, but then I'm thinking, when am I actually going to actually play? I mean, I enjoy painting figures, but as for gaming, doing absolutely none. I don't know anybody down here that's interested in the hobby at all. So I'm thinking, do I just concentrate on buying figures, get scenery at another point when I think I might actually meet people that are into gaming? So I'm sort of torn at that. I can spare to have one spend this month, I think. So I'm torn between getting some more Napoleonic Perry stuff. You know, obviously I want to get those dragoons. I'd like some more British infantry and some of the new French battalion boxes that they just brought out. So it's either do buy Old West buildings or some Napoleonic stuff. Don't know yet. Can't decide. I'll probably end up flipping a coin. But yeah, rambling on. That's about it. So like you can see, as you can see, I've got a fair bit together, ready to paint. It's just finding the time to paint with this little chap and these cats who were giving him a hard time. So yeah, I've had a channel-wise, actually, that's something I've got to mention. I had a couple more subscribers recently, so thanks to you lot. And I'm actually thinking of changing the name of my channel. So what I'm going to do is change the name of the channel. And then I don't normally like comments, as in, you know, do put a like on comments on my videos, because I just let people comment and I read them all, but I never actually push the like button. But what I'll do is click the like button on any comments I get on either this video or previous video once I've changed the name, so you'll get a notification that there's been a like on a comment you've made. And I'm going to change the name to, I think will be Emmett Miniatures and War Games. Emmett is a derogatory Cornish term for anyone not from Cornwall. And obviously I'm not from Cornwall, and despite the fact I live here now, I will always be an Emmett. So I thought, yeah, that'd be a good name. I've been wanting to stop using my actual name as the channel name, so, and I've been thinking for quite a while what to use, and that just came to me yesterday. So I thought, yeah, Emmett Miniatures and War Games. So if you get a notification come up about Emmett Miniatures and War Games, you know it's me. Hopefully you'll still be, you know, follow my channel. For those of you that watch, I'm a bit sort of iffy about changing the name. I thought, are you going to lose like subscribers or links to them? But just in case anything goes wrong, if that name pops up, you know it's me. So yeah, as usual, thanks to everybody who does subscribe, watches and comments. Appreciate it from all of you. Everybody take care. Hope you have a great year ahead for all of us. I'll try and do another video soon, depending on whether this little chap will let me. Say goodbye, Taz. Taz is too tired. See you, Taz. Alright, see you everybody.